Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
Season 7 of Better Let Me Tell You. I don't know.
I could never say it on the phone.
Oh.
I had to let you know this time. Oh, I'm blinded by the light. Come on.
For some reason, I just didn't know the start of it.
I mean,
No, I know, but like I feel like hearing it like not with all the music and the weekend threw me off.
I would think that just by in the sheer like matter of hanging out with me as much as you do,
This is true.
You would know all songs by the weekend.
This is true. We hang out so much that literally last week you were going to go get food and you asked for literally anyone at your house but me to go accompany you.
Yep. Yeah, we had a lot of people over, and I was like, "Can it be anyone but you?" Like.
And I would not be offended because we spend so much time together. I get it.
Too much of a good thing is a problem.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But you know what's not a problem? Too much of better, let me tell you.
That's why we are here today. Welcome everybody with episode 293. 292.
I just said it 2 seconds ago.
292. No, entido. 292.
Why does that sound like a thing?
292. 929. That was a Mazda.
Okay, that's
You don't remember the Mazda 929?
No. I'm not.
In the early 90s,
I'm not your
Mazda
mom.
had a really interesting name.
Change.
Yeah, so Mazda had the 323, the 626, and the 929.
Oh, all multiples of 3.
Yeah, and then the Mazda Protege and the Miata.
Oh, they were not multiples of 3.
No, those stood out. Yeah, the Mazda 929, the 626, and the 323.
Yeah, what was the Mazda the protege of?
No, the Protege was just their small compact vehicle.
Right, but a protege.
Oh, no.
Like, was it a protege of the 626?
No, but if you think about it, like there's so many words I learned because of car names, like the Honda Prelude.
Oh,
I learned what Prelude was.
not because of Alec Baldwin.
What, Kiss to a Prelude?
Close enough. Prelude to a Kiss.
Prelude to a Kiss. No, when that movie came out, Prelude to a Kiss, I knew what the word meant because of the Honda Prelude.
Oh, okay.
I also learned what the word Accord means because of the Honda Accord. Camry doesn't mean anything.
No, except in our hearts.
It does it?
I don't know. I'm just trying to move the conversation along.
So yeah.
Yes, here we are in April
Hold
talking
on.
about cars.
Yeah. I learned a lot by car names.
Wherever
It did not rub off on you.
No, it didn't. But then again, comic books didn't rub off on you. So,
No.
so it works both ways.
It cuts both ways.
Just like a knife.
It cuts both ways. So how is everybody? How was everybody's Easter weekend?
Everybody, well,
For those who celebrated.
Listen, and if you don't celebrate it, I know everybody celebrates April 1st because that's when the Easter candy's 50% off.
Oh my gosh. So funny thing. So on April 1st, obviously there are a lot of April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
So Royal Caribbean, and kudos to them for corporate, doing something funny, which is so unlike what corporate conglomerates do. So Royal Caribbean posted on their Instagram this image of one of their ships. I think it was the Odyssey of the Seas, where they were like, "Oh, coming this summer is a 1,000-foot water slide."
Okay.
A water slide feature on our ships. So basically, it was an image of, imagine a huge inflatable water slide from the top deck of the ship into the ocean.
Oh.
And it was like 1,000-foot drop, like a 1,000 feet long, something ridiculous, right? I don't know how much, something ridiculous. So literally, it was like an inflatable water slide from the very top of the ship. And these ships are like 15, 16 stories tall, right? Down to the ocean,
To the depths of the ocean.
The ocean. And clearly, this was an April Fool's joke. You have to see the comments. Oh, this is crazy. This is what Royal Caribbean is doing to beat the other cruise lines. God. Imagine the waiver you have to sign for that. Oh, whoever does this is crazy. And I'm like, do people not realize this is an April Fool's joke?
This is why we cannot have nice things. Yeah, just like there was a liberal arts college, I forget which one exactly, posted something. It looks like it was April Fool's, and I have to hope it was, about how they had admitted a llama into higher learning, and there's a picture of a llama like going up the stairs into like a classroom.
I have to tell you, if when I would have been in college or in law school, if there would have been a llama in my class, I would have been so happy. That's my favorite animal.
Well, yeah, atacate coupe.
Or takes a shit in class.
Oh yeah, that.
That.
It's like, what's that smell? It's the llama.
It's a llama. But aren't llamas amazing?
I love a llama. I encountered many on my climb through Machu Picchu.
I remember when I was in New Zealand, I came across a farm of llamas.
Aww.
And I was like, my friends, I'm here.
Aww. They knew.
They knew I loved them.
They knew. They still talk about it to this day.
Have you ever seen, and listeners, for those of you who like really dark comedy, this is like super dark. On YouTube, the animated skit Llamas with Hats.
This sounds familiar.
So it's an animated skit. It's several years old, of two llamas,
You
and
must have shown this to me.
one of them is like a mass murderer.
Okay, I'm in.
So for example, the two llamas are on a raft and a ship is sinking, and he's like, Larry, what did you do? It's like, Larry, you blew up that ship. Yeah, I did. Larry, why is there like a hand floating in our like raft? And he's like, I don't know. And he's like, Larry, you ate the elderly couple in room 221, didn't you? And he's like, I know. It's really, really funny. If you like that dark humor.
It's two of my favorite things, true crime and llamas.
And they're wearing hats.
I mean, and I do love a chapeau.
Llamas with hats.
I do love a good chapeau.
So I hope everybody had a wonderful Easter weekend and that you enjoyed your chocolates and your chocolates on sale.
Of course they did.
The Dollar Tree currently already has Valentine's Day present decorations. They bypassed Christmas.
Yeah, they did. They're you know what? Christmas is so passé.
Yeah.
Actually, did you see they're raising their prices?
The Dollar Tree?
So the cap used to be $5. Like, have you been to Dollar Tree like recent-ish?
Dollar Tree or Family Dollar?
No, Dollar Tree. So Dollar Tree now has a section that's like the more than $1 section type of thing. But the cap there is $5. The new cap is $7. Which means that some of the other shit is probably going to go up from $1.25 to $1.50 soon. So what do you think?
Let me tell you something. That 25 cents means the world.
It adds up
very quickly.
Yeah, before you know it.
Do you know what I think was one of the best jingles ever? $5 foot long. I added lyrics to it.
Added lyrics?
Yeah, I did. $5 foot long. It's dangerous. Five.
Why is it a Michael Jackson B-side?
$5 foot long. It's dangerous. Yeah. It's dangerous because you'll order more than one $5 foot long.
That is true.
I told you I never got the $5 foot long.
Well, yeah, but that's because you will never order anything as is on a menu.
I'm not having no sweet onion teriyaki. If I'm going to Subway, I'm going to Subway.
No. It's not about the sweet onion teriyaki. We've had this conversation on this show before. You will show up and be like, "Hi, I'd like a number one, but here's how I want it."
I would like that with everything.
Right, with everything that is not currently there, and so now I've created a number 1.5.
So in McDonald's,
yeah.
So in McDonald's,
I've been there. I've seen you.
I gave up unless I get off and do it in the kiosks. That's why I love the kiosks at McDonald's. Because I would want to order the quarter pounder with cheese, but not the sliced onions, with the diced onions of the double cheeseburger. Eso fue un desastre. Every time I would be like, yeah, hi, I want a quarter pounder with cheese, but can I have it with the diced onions of the double cheeseburger? Oh, you want a double cheeseburger? No, I don't want a double cheeseburger. I just want a quarter pounder with cheese, but not with sliced onions. So like they'll end up giving me like a cheeseburger with no onions. Like
I'm supposed to just give you a roast beef sandwich.
So I was like, I'm not gonna win. I'm not gonna win this fight. No. I'm not going to win this fight.
That's why you have to have the app.
Yeah. No. Not another app on my phone. There's an app for that.
Oh, goodness. No, but you at least get points for your specific orders, and then you can get free things.
Okay. I know. First of all, I don't go to McDonald's enough to do the whole app bullshit. I mean, for people to do great, but I don't know. Can I just walk into McDonald's and make my order?
Oh no, you can. I'm just saying, like, you're leaving money on the table.
I remember when I was a kid that we went to McDonald's, and this was, I don't know, late 80s, early 90s, that they had a whole Happy Meal with the Berenstein Bears.
Yeah, I still have it that I gave my grandmother.
My mom made me return it because the Happy Meal was more money. and I only had a $4 budget.
Wait, how does one return a Happy Meal?
Well, when they rang me up and they started putting, because remember that they would ring you up,
Right.
and then they would start putting the stuff on the tray when you would dine in, and then my mom's like, no, eso cuesta como $6. No, devuélvelo. And yeah, I never had the Berenstein Bears, but I did have, which I still have, the original jack-o'-lantern. I have the green one.
Oh, the little bucket.
Yeah, the bucket. I have the original. And I have the Transformers of that were the food.
Oh, we still have the fries somewhere.
I have the Big Mac. I have the fries. I have them all.
It's at my parents' house somewhere.
I don't know how many of these they had, but they had one of Fraggle Rock. I have the one that's on the eggplant.
Oh, they were little cars.
Little cars.
Yes.
I have the eggplant. I still have it.
The green one was in a carrot, I think.
Yes.
And I think it was the pink one that was in the eggplant.
I still have all those
I still have a bunch of them too.
in my parents' room.
Yeah.
In my parents' house.
I like the thought of it just being like your parents' room just has like all these Happy Meal toys like all over. They just go to bed.
Actually, speaking of my parents, a few days ago, I was telling Tristan about all the pranks I pulled on my parents.
And then you wonder why he does things.
Listeners,
You're giving him ideas.
I've been a bad boy. I pulled so many pranks on my parents throughout the years. Like, bad. So there was a year, and these were pranks. I didn't do these pranks when I was a teenager. I did these pranks when I was like in my mid to late 20s and 30s. Like,
o sea, ya tú estabas arredo.
yeah. So there was a year that I went to their house, and every single picture frame, I turned the picture around. Now, you would think, oh, they could just turn the frame right back around. No, because I opened the picture frame and
he didn't say the frame. He said the picture
around every single one of them. And the best part is, it took them days to notice, and I did it to every single picture frame in the house. Like I was like, either go big or go home. Right.
Yeah.
The ones in their bedroom, the ones in the coffee table in the living room, the ones on the wall, every single one of them. And it took them days. And just when they find out things now, they were like, here he went again. Then there was the year that this was all for April Fool's Day. But you know the worst thing about April Fool's Day is that
it's different in Cuba.
It's different in Cuba. It's Dia de los Inocentes.
Yeah.
It's like in November.
Yeah,
or
it's later in the year.
Other month. It's not April Fool's.
No,
it's not April 1st.
So all of a sudden, just randomly in April, shit was happening. They had no idea why.
Yes.
Right.
So they're like, "¿Qué pasa?" So I still don't think they know it's April 1st. They just know it's a different day, right? So then there was the year. And have you ever seen my parents' closet?
I don't think so.
My parents have a walk-in closet in their bedroom. Actually, they have two closets. They have a walk-in closet, and they have a regular like closet in the wall. Mm-hmm. There was a year that I went and I moved everything. So my dad had the left side of the dresser and my mom had the right. So I switched the drawers. So my mom had the right and my dad had the left. And then I went in their closet and I switched out the whole closet, like the whole closet. Like I put my dad's stuff in the walk-in closet and my mom's stuff in the walk-in closet. And you know what? They just gave it. They're like, whatever.
This is the new normal. This is how we live now.
It was like years later that they were painting their room. But I mean like 4 or 5 years later. That they were like, you know what? I guess today's the day. We're going to switch the closet back.
And that's how you keep a marriage alive.
And I was like, damn it, this wasn't supposed to go so well. And then the best prank I pulled on them was the one with the Lazy Boy reclinable.
I don't know this one.
So my father, like...
wait, I think I do. Go ahead, but I think I just remembered,
a red-blooded Cuban man... always wanted a Lazy Boy reclinable. But my mom's like, eso nunca, eso es feísimo. Lo reclinable eso. ¿Quién quiere eso en su casa? So one year, and I actually had somebody at my office do it because, I mean, they would have recognized my voice. It was for Sears, and I had my coworker. My coworker, she was great. Like she played the part big time. She's like, sí, hola, estamos llamando de Sears al señor Roberto. Sí, estamos llamando de Sears porque usted por ser being like
un buen cliente,
a good card holder. We want to let you know that you won a Lazy Boy reclinable, and we will be delivering the reclinable today at 3:00. And my dad was like, oh my god, amazing! Aww. This is great. So then the same lady, the coworker of mine, calls my mom. She's like, sí, señora Neri, mira, estamos confirmando the order for the reclinable that your husband placed with us here at Sears using credit card number, blah, blah, blah. She's
Hitting them against each other.
What do you mean that he ordered a reclinable? Yes, he ordered a reclinable and it's being delivered today at 3:00. And my mom's like, what? But my mom was at work. So then they were fighting, right? So then my mom calls me. She's like, why did you order a reclinable? My dad's like, what are you talking about? I want that reclinable. And she's like, I'm going to call right now and cancel that order. So then to add fuel to the fire, I used to go home for lunch during that time. I call my mom and I'm like, Mom, I'm here at the house for lunch.
There's a
from the
recliner.
office. They're delivering a reclinable. No lo puedo creer que ya yo los llamé y le dije que no.
You're awful.
And then, my poor dad stayed without the reclinable.
Meanwhile, your father now at this point does not have the recliner and does not have his Botero.
Yeah, no. Oh my God. Oh my! It's
2-0.
The Botero reaction. I'm even embarrassed to say on the podcast.
The record.
So my dad loves Botero, and for those of you listeners who know who Botero is, I feel Botero is a very you like it or you get it or you don't, right? So Botero is a very famous Colombian artist.
Passed away recently.
Sofia Vergara loves Botero,
right?
And he usually would paint his figures. They are like very like fat and like chubby,
but they're like round,
right? And that's sort of like the what makes it the charm of his paintings. And again, it's an aesthetic that you either like or you don't. And my dad loves Botero. And some years ago, he got this like really nice poster of Botero.
It's like a print,
like a print, and he framed it and everything. He put it in the family room. And when my mom got home, she's like, ¿Qué es eso? And my dad's like, it's a Botero. She's like, ¿pero cómo que es un Botero? She's like, nope. She's like, nope. Eso lo vamos a quitar. And it was the one of the naked lady.
Right,
The really famous one. He's like, no, que quiero yo una pintura de una mujer gorda ahí en cuera en el medio de la
Botero,
sala.
bota eso.
Bota eso. And my dad stayed without the Botero.
Oh, I'm going to get your dad a Botero.
For many years in the family room, like now where my parents' family room where the TV is mounted, for many years, maybe you noticed throughout the years when you were going, they didn't know what direction to take with that wall. Because it's like the biggest wall in the family room. There was a few years that they had these like this really big like frame like with a lithograph of like tigers. And if you know my parents' aesthetic,
that's not them.
That's not them. And I think it was just they didn't know what to put. They put tigers. Then before the tigers, they had a poster of bottles of beer on the wall, which again, it's like,
when did your house become a frat house?
Yeah. And then before that, they just had scenes of Venice that they, oil paintings of scenes of Venice that they bought in a pulguero here in Miami.
Of the three, that's the most like them aesthetic wise.
So listeners, do you pull pranks on your parents? You don't pull pranks on your parents.
I don't pull pranks on my parents.
No, your father, no.
No, they're not prank people.
Your mom, maybe, but your dad, no.
No.
That prank is not going to go well.
No, it doesn't end well for anyone.
Yeah, with your dad.
No. He's not a prank person.
He's not a pranker. He's not a pranky.
A pranky or a pranker, for that matter. Neither pranky or pranker. No. That is not how that rolls. No. Not like it, right? So I just wanted to really quick, because I texted you yesterday. So as some listeners know, we recently we had Sheila E. on the show, thanks to Allied Global Marketing, who helped coordinate everything. And she, for her album launch, Bailar, the salsa album that we talked about, she did like her record launch party here in Miami. And they invited us, and you couldn't go because you were at the fair with the kids. So Jose and I went, and so we get there, and we run into some friends of Jose's, and all of a sudden we notice that Ana Navarro's there with esta mujer, Nana Tolova's wife, that she's on the Miami Housewives. I don't remember her name, and then I also noticed Maria Celeste is there from Primer Impacto and Rojo Vivo. So, okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden they're talking to each other and we're talking over here. And Jose's friend's husband decides that he's just going to go over there and just like join the party. So he goes over there and he just starts talking to them. And he's like, hey. So we get called over. And all of a sudden I'm talking to like Ana Navarro and Maria Celeste about my cherry bourbon smash drink.
Oh, wow.
And I will tell you this. Okay, it was at the Fillmore, and the drink was like a really good size. It was a very cute little souvenir cup for $23. Ana Navarro was not having that price.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I said, no, look at it. It's like, it's a big thing. It's $23. She gave me this face like, no. Which made me kind of happy to know that even with, her level of success, she's not,
She knows what a bargain
yeah,
is and isn't.
no bota dinero.
She knows when she's been ripped off.
Exactly. But Maria Celeste was down. Maria Celeste was into it. So then we went in. Sheila E was phenomenal. Like, she had a bunch of special guests. Among them, Gloria Estefan was there. She performed Bemba Colorada with Mimi Sucar. It was wonderful. But then, I turn around.
Was it just salsa music?
It's because the album is just her salsa album, so it was just. But then she ended with Glamorous Life.
I was saying, no Glamorous Life.
That was the encore.
Or Love Bizarre.
Yeah, she did. Glamorous Life was the encore, but it was so much fun. And then I got to meet Emily Estefan.
Oh, finally.
Again, like I told you, we're circling the Estefan drain here, And so I met her, and I also met her girlfriend, Jem, who we're now, actually I have her phone number. We're trying to coordinate them to get on the show.
Oh, wow.
And then I saw Sheila E., Emilio Estefan, and Emily Estefan all perform the drums together on stage, which was like insane, right? But here's the fun part. So that was fantastic. The show
Meanwhile, I was at the fair, having an elephant ear and playing whack-a-mole.
The show was great, right? So then our contact from the agency, she's like, "Oh, Sheila's might be doing a meet and greet afterwards. Don't leave the area, whatever." I'm like, "Okay, great, we're here." She comes up. She's like, "Here's a blue wristband. She only had one, no problem, whatever." So I noticed that Ana Navarro and I really wish I knew this woman's name. I don't watch the Miami Housewives, so I apologize to the listeners. They're like still kind of standing around, and I'm like, okay, I see Ana Navarro has a blue wristband too, so I'll just follow Ana Navarro, right? So she's walking, and I'm following her, and I'm like, oh, you girls have the blue wristband. I'll just follow you. You seem to know where you're going, and they're like, I don't know about that. I'm like, yeah, no problem. So we walk to where like the security is.
Al wasn't there.
No, Al wasn't there. No, because that was her plus one. So we're walking to where like the security is to go. What I'm assuming is for the meet and greet, right? So we're about to go in. The security guard is like, wait, blue, you need the blue wristbands. And Ana had one, but the other lady didn't. So it's Ana, the housewife, me, and then a bunch of people like behind me. All of a sudden, somebody out of nowhere comes because they're like, no, but she can come in. It's like, no. They're all part of the Estefan family. So all of a sudden, I'm part of the Estefan family.
Wow.
And I'm like, sure, I'm not saying no. So
I'm going along for this ride.
So I'm here walking in, shuffled in with like the Estefans and Ana Navarro and a housewife. And that's actually when I met Emily's girlfriend, Jem, because we're walking up the stairs and I was like, oh my God, I love your podcast. And so we started chatting. So all of a sudden, I find myself just kind of standing there as Sheila E's coming off stage, Gloria Estefan standing there. They're all chit-chatting, having like, a little confab with Ana Navarro. And I'm like, this is the most bizarre moment I've ever been privy to.
But it's a very bizarre Miami moment.
Right. Because it was also like, it's that thing of like, I've never been backstage at a concert. And yet here I am. And like, there's a lot going on, right?
Now you're in Estefan.
And I'm in Estefan all of a sudden, right? Like officially, because the security guard said so. So they all kind of disappear somewhere. And I was like, well, I don't think this is the meet and greet. I can't imagine that this is the meet and greet, but okay. So I'm just going to wander around backstage. And that's when I bumped into Emilio Estefan.
Oh, as one does.
As one does. Darian, when I tell you, we've been doing this show now for 7 years. We've interviewed our fair share of people. I was at a loss for words.
I bet.
I got choked up. All I could kind of blurt out was just kind of like, it's such an honor to meet you. Wow. I couldn't
Your wife
speak.
and I go way back.
Yeah, I mean, we have Mike and Ike's in common.
Right,
yes.
right.
And then after that, I was like, well, I don't know what to. So I just kind of like, walked back out of the backstage. But I will say this. What I thought was really cute. You know what they had a bowl of backstage?
What?
M&Ms. You hear all these like musicians have the M&M writers.
But did you finally meet Sheila E?
I didn't meet Sheila E, but that's okay. I have a better story. I'm in Estefan now.
Did, but so where did everybody go?
They went upstairs to like I guess her dressing room was somewhere else. I guess she went to go change or what have you. And it's funny because afterwards Jose was like, "But why didn't you just like take out your camera and start filming like all this, And I'm like, it just didn't feel like a public moment. You know what I mean? Like, look, I had already been unofficially adopted by the Estefans,
Right.
without their knowledge, and it felt like something like if they had taken the video and posted it or a picture, that's one thing. But I felt like I was an outsider. It didn't feel right.
Yeah. You got to have discretion.
You know, to do that. And so then afterwards, we left and whatever. But it was just like that was the capper for me where I was like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm with the Estefans. Yeah. I'm with the Estefans.
I'm with them.
I'm with them. And that was just such a Miami
I just
moment.
want to know where the meet and greet was.
I don't even know if it happened. Because afterwards, it was like 11 o'clock at night. We were hungry. So we were like,
Sheila E was also probably very tired.
That woman drumming for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
That will take it out of you. She was phenomenal. I'm going to post some videos of it today, actually, on Real Friday. But yeah, it was great. And again, thank you to everybody who made it happen. It was so much fun.
That's a great story. Sheila E. N. being adopted by the Estefans all in one night. Yeah, Sheila E. has had one of those careers that has been really long, and like it's been quite remarkable. Even though she's never been somebody that like publicly has been like in a controversy or anything like that, but she's one of these people like when you start looking at her catalog, it's like whoa, like she's done a lot. I mean, hey, she was a Prince.
Yeah,
she was in the Prince hemisphere,
Yeah, and she worked with Michael Jackson, and she's worked with everybody, which was great. At one point, she was introducing, she had special guests coming on, and there was this guy who I guess had sung with her on some like PBS Michael Jackson tribute that she had done. So she said that. Y la señora next to me, like at one point when the guy came out, I mean, he was like a young guy. All of us, she's like, Michael Jackson! And I was like, did she think that's what was going to happen here? Like,
I mean, that would have been kind of amazing.
I mean, she's a legend, but I don't think she's a necromancer.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been kind of amazing. But yeah. Well, that's a great story.
Yes, I next time you've got to come with. I'll get you in. I know the Estefans.
Yeah, a lot of times you go to these events and I don't go because I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Hi, listeners, don't you get tired?
Listen, it's exhausting.
I'm just tired. Like, I know this happens not only in Miami, in a lot of places, but sometimes geographically, I'm like, oh man, I have to go to downtown, but no, it's the traffic, and like I don't want to deal with the traffic.
It's like, never the distance.
No, it's never the distance. It's always the traffic. Like we did an interview this week, and it wasn't geographically. It was like 12 miles away, and it took me an hour and a half to get there.
But chronologically,
we did an interview with someone that will be releasing the interview soon in the next couple of weeks.
You guys will dig it.
But oh my god, like. Yeah, that's how bad things have gotten here in terms of traffic. And we'll revisit that traffic thing in a minute because there's a topic I want to talk about that later. But
okay.
It's almost here.
You mean?
Yep. Our favorite tradition is back. The fair. It starts March 14th through April 7th.
Yes. Okay, and this year's theme is Space Venture. And I've seen the new ride called the X-Drive. Bro, that thing is like the kamikaze on steroids.
Oh yeah, that's pretty insane. And of course, there's the exhibits and new shows this year like the Amazing Bubble Factory and Space Adventure Thrill Show.
Okay. Rides, exhibits, shows. I mean, that's all good, but we know what our Pero Primos want to hear about.
The food. Dale, what can we look forward to?
Okay, are you ready? Korean corn dog, cinnamon roll sundae, banana cream pie nachos, elote sundae, Angela's pineapple and guava pizza, cheeseburger on a stick, buffalo chicken fries, and more.
Coño. Wow. Oye, new rides, shows, and food. Visit fairexpo.com to get entrance and ride tickets. Then enjoy them all at the fair from March 14th through April 7th, okay? You know we gotta say it. Be there,
the fair.
Speaking of music,
yes.
So
as we love to do,
I wanted to talk this week about the Beyonce of it all.
Okay.
And as many of you know,
Cowboy Carter. Yeah.
As many of you know, Beyonce released her album Cowboy Carter this week, and it's a country album. It's being marketed as a country album. She also has a remake of Jolene by Dolly Parton, and they redid the lyrics. They kind of rewrote the whole song, although it has the same melody. And that's fine if you like it or you don't. It's fine. My whole thing about it and why I wanted to bring it up, I feel that whenever Beyonce releases something nowadays, and this is to no fault of her own, and this is coming from somebody who actually loves Beyonce.
You've been to her concerts.
I've liked Beyonce since, as I say, No Part 1 from Destiny's Child. I've seen her multiple times in concert, most recently on the Renaissance tour. I'm a Beyonce fan. I'm not a Beehive, but I am a Beyonce fan. You know what? It's sort of exhausting at this point that every time Beyonce puts something out, you have two camps of people. You have the people that just trash her, can't stand her, make personal shots at her, which is crap, attack her. Right. And then you have the Beehive or the mega fans that anything and everything you say about Beyonce will be used against you in a court of law. And if you don't say whatever, they are going to go and stalk you. And it's like, it's sort of exhausting. And this is to no fault on her own.
Right.
This is more of like the celebrity culture that we live in nowadays. It's like, can't you if Beyonce puts something out that you don't like it. And if you love it, love it. Can you like it or love it in peace? It's just exhausting at this point. And I'm so tired of it that every time she does something, it's all these fights, these freaking fights online. It's like, people, give it a rest. If you like it, great. And if you don't like it, just move on. It's like there's other more pressing issues in the world. Have you heard the album?
I've heard snippets of it. Excuse me. I have heard the Jolene. I don't even want to call it a remake because, like you said, it's not just a cover. Like she changed the lyrics. It's okay. I just think that she missed the point of the song.
You know what, though? I've read a lot about the remake of Jolene, and a lot of people say it was written by Dolly Parton because if you look at the credits, it just says Parton.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't say Beyonce and Dolly Parton. Because if Beyonce rewrote the song, which
their
song
lyrics
is
are added,
rewritten,
yeah.
or somebody in her team, it would have them listed as a songwriter.
Right.
And it doesn't. It just says Parton.
Again, the beauty to me of Jolene is that it's this like very, very plaintive, very like sorrowful,
it's sort of like a submissive.
It's a submissive song, and and the thing is that you can't do that for Beyonce. Like Beyonce's not allowed to be the victim, quote unquote, when it comes to love music. Right? Like, and in relationship songs, she has to always be no.
She is. I mean, she did a whole album about being the victim.
Right. But she can never be like vulnerable. That's the word I'm looking for, right? Like, it always has to be like, I'm the victim, but yeah, bitch. It's that powerful, like, clap back type of thing.
I mean, that's her brand.
But that's not Jolene to me. Like, that's what I'm saying.
You lose something. I listened to it. I've listened to the whole album.
I love Texas Hold'em.
16 characters. The whole album. I gotta choose my words wisely because Beehive is not kidding.
They've got ears everywhere.
I actually like the album more than I like Renaissance, simply because I don't like house music.
Right.
I mean, there's songs from Renaissance that I like, but I'm not generally into.
It's
house
just not
music.
your genre.
It's not my thing. That doesn't mean I think it's a bad album or anything like. It's just not my jam. I actually like this more. I don't know how country it is because there are songs in there that are straight up like R&B that, I mean, don't sound nothing country to me. I mean, I'm not an expert in country music. Actually, I don't really listen to country music, so I'm not the authority on that. The album, I mean,
I enjoyed it.
From a lay perspective, it has country music influence, but I don't know if it's a full-blown country album.
Right.
Regardless, it doesn't really matter. I like it. It's just that, again, this whole fighting, it's just so annoying. And then, I know that she gets a lot of shit from people that la tienen cogida con ella and everything she does, they criticize, and that sucks. But then, like, her Beehive is also like delusional. Like, for example.
Right.
Have you listened to the album from start to finish?
No.
It has 27 tracks. It doesn't have 27 songs. And
okay,
somebody was in some comment that I read, because only the mother of all mothers, Beyonce, will do an epic album with 27 tracks. And I'm like,
hold my beer.
I'm like, if you really want to get into that, Janet Jackson's Janet album has 28 tracks because it's all full of interludes.
Right.
The Rhythm Nation album, I think, has 24 tracks
because of the interludes.
Out For You has like 22 tracks because Janet Jackson, if you listen
If
to
you
her
know
albums
Janet.
from start to finish, they all have interludes and stories between songs. So Beyonce is not the first person to do that because she's not.
She's just not. I mean, it's just a matter of historical record.
And then there's the Madonna fans that are fighting with Beyonce fans right now because they're like, well, Madonna did the cowgirl thing 20 some years ago with music.
I mean,
which she kind of did.
Sure, but she did the cowgirl thing, but not the country album thing.
Right.
You know?
But there are songs on that album that sound a little country-ish.
Well, I mean, don't tell me has a twang.
Regardless, It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Again, Beyonce didn't create country music.
If you like the album, great. And if you like Beyonce, great. And if you don't like Beyonce, great too. I mean, whatever. Yeah. It's just this constant like back and forth and this fighting. And it's just so annoying. It makes you not want to listen to it because it's like, what am I listening to?
It's almost as if you have to listen to it because I need you to have an opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, whatever. I like the record.
I do too.
I like the record, and I'll go to the Cowboy Carter tour. I mean, I'm not gonna wear a cowboy hat, but I'll go to the Cowboy Carter.
But will you wear chaps?
No.
A fringe vest.
No.
A holster.
No, I never dressed up as a cowboy when I was
a kerchief.
No, yo no me pongo nada de eso.
You can just wear your bandana and put it around your neck instead.
No, I don't like that look. Maybe I'll just wear a t-shirt of Toy Story.
There you go. See, and that's how you compromise, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you figure it out. It's called brainstorming, and then you come to a solution.
Jolene. I
love that song.
I didn't discover that song until I was like 30.
Really?
Again, Cuba.
Oh, yeah.
Cuban parents.
Yeah.
My parents weren't listening to Dolly Parton when I was a kid.
No. We used to watch her variety show.
I remember her variety show.
Yeah.
When in the late 80s. I knew who Dolly Parton was, but I didn't know who Dolly Parton.
I get it.
But what she did.
Right. Like, you knew she existed.
And I remember there were butterflies. Like, lots of butterflies.
Well, that's her thing. Before Mariah.
Her shtick is the butterfly.
Haven't you seen the logo for Dollywood?
Oh, it is a butterfly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was too busy passing out when we were at Dollywood.
That's true. Yeah. In all fairness, you probably think that, the logo of Dollywood is just free water.
I'll never forget when because I've said this story here on the podcast, listeners. We went to Dollywood some years ago, and it was like 5,000 degrees in Pigeon Forge.
In the mountains. It's really hot.
So I actually started like blacking out.
No, you were bad. Tu estás mal.
Yeah. I remember there was a point that we got on that train
that put you over the edge.
Right by her house, and I was like, oh, that I was like lightheaded, and the fumes of the train. I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna fall off the train.
You're like, oh no.
For those of you who have not been to Dollywood, I recommend you to go.
Just not in the heat of summer, like the height of summer.
The people there are interesting. It's fun.
I will say this, unlike other theme parks, they were handing out free water at Dollywood.
Oh, in Disney World, they would have charged you, an extra.
Right. They're like, oh, it's a hydration fee. But Dollywood, they handed out, and every corner they were handing out.
No,
bottles.
they would have given you hydration fee when you bought your ticket.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's extra. It's extra this month because it's really hot, so we're gonna have to put more water into the fountains.
Yeah. So, actually, I wanted to bring something up on something a little bit more local.
Glasses were hurting me.
So I was reading an article earlier this week about how there's a lot of people, specifically from New York, but a lot of people who we've complained so much that have moved down to South Florida that have had it. And
I saw that.
Back. You saw it? Mm-hmm. And they're moving back. And I actually read the article. It was a very lengthy article. It was on NBCnews.com. And, they interviewed a lot of people, and they were saying that, when they moved to Florida, it was this tropical paradise, cheaper than New York. In New York, you live there,
the prices,
and here you could get a house and an apartment at much less that you could in New York, and the weather and the beaches and all that.
Tropical paradise.
And they really came with that mindset, and also Florida doesn't have property state income tax,
right?
But then the article goes on to say, and they interviewed a lot of people in different, walks of life,
Okay.
different spectrums, different political spaces in this article. And they stated that, that they've had it because they've found how difficult it is to live here. And there were some stats in the article that
I was going to say, difficult in what sense?
There were some stats in the article that I thought were very interesting. Even though Florida doesn't have state income tax here, home insurance, which we know we've complained about a lot, property insurance has gone up more than 42% on average in the last 2 years. The average property insurance policy here in Florida is over $6,000. Car insurance is 50% more in Florida than the national average, 50% higher than the national average for car insurance. Trust me, I complain about it every single time I renew my policy. And then obviously property values, home prices have gone up 60% since 2020. So in just 4 years, it's gone up, 60%.
More than
That's
half,
crazy. The article also talked that a lot of people were just sick and tired, and on both sides of the political spectrum, we're just sick and tired of the divisive politics.
Culture wars.
In the culture wars. There was even a lady who, she was a Republican and she had voted for Trump, that she was like, I'm just sick and tired that everywhere you go, people are talking about politics and they have banners up and all that. And she's like, this shouldn't be an identity. And she was somebody who was a conservative and all that. And they thought that between that, the culture wars, the hurricanes, the heat, and all the stats I gave,
not the sports
all the stats that I gave in terms of how expensive Florida has gotten, that she was just like, I'm moving back home. There was somebody that they had interviewed that was from Kentucky, a couple from New York, that they were like, we had it. And it's funny, and traffic obviously was one of the things they talked about. And it's funny because I guess it's from what point of view you see it. All those stats that I just read, I was like, but didn't you know that? Because that's something that here in Florida we've known for a while, because these are things that have been higher for quite some time. And I would always tell people, not just now, years, 5, 6, 7, 8 years back, I would tell people, I'm like, yeah, we don't pay for Florida for state tax here. We don't pay for state tax here, but our car insurance. I remember one time I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in New Jersey, of all places. It's not like she lives in the middle of nowhere. She lives in New Jersey, and her car insurance is like $75 a month. And I was like, what? I was like, $75 a month. Her house in New Jersey, which is like 4 times the size of my house, on like a 4-plot acres of land, she pays like $2,000 a year in property insurance, and the list goes on and on. So I always wondered that when people would say, "Oh, but Florida has no state tax," I'm like, "Yeah, Florida doesn't have state tax, but everything else is more expensive." Yeah. So how does that balance out? So I read this article with an open mind. I didn't even read it with go back to where, you came from, New Yorkers or wherever. But it was more like, yeah, things here are not as easy as people say it is. And, I've been very, very critical, and I don't care who is in government in terms of local government. I don't care what party is the governor. I don't care what party is in the Florida Congress. You guys really need to get your shit together and start putting, our interests first, especially financially, and do something about insurance. The car insurance has gotten out of hand. Property insurance has gotten out of hand. Taxes have gotten out of hands, property taxes. And this is making like Florida unlivable for people that have decent salaries. We're not even talking now about people that are at the poverty line. We're talking about people that have very
two incomes,
have multiple incomes, have good incomes,
careers. Yeah.
Everything is like super expensive, and these are things that are this is not the federal inflation. These are things that are specific to Florida. Right. So that's something that has been so frustrating for so long, that we've been complaining and saying it for years now, how expensive insurance is here, both car insurance, property insurance, taxes, everything is so expensive here. And I just feel that our elected officials have just not paid attention to that as much as they should and focus their energy on things that maybe it's important or maybe it's important to them, but at the end of the day, it's not, it doesn't affect our pockets, which is,
right.
you know, when you have a family and when you have a home and you have different things, you know, these are really the kitchen table topics, things that really keep you up at night. So it's just, I found that article kind of like, yeah, this is what we've been saying for a really long time. And I'm sorry that it took you, moving here to realize that this is not the, paradise people say.
But that's always the way it is. I mean, I think it just comes down to the fact of when people move somewhere, many times they move, if they're not moving there for like a job, right? They're moving there because of what they've been quote unquote sold. And I think that it's easy to overlook the realities, especially if you don't necessarily know someone there. I mean, it just happens all the time. I will say this. I think it's interesting that, they were complaining about the increase of like the property, like the cost of houses and things like that. When the fact is that went up because of all these outside people coming in. It's not that Florida was cheap necessarily, but let's be honest. Let's look at the timetable. The price of homes has gone up in the last 4 years because all these people from outside, and I'm not trying to knock my New Yorkers, but they came down and it was like, oh, this is all it costs. And people got hip to the fact of like, oh, we can charge them more. I was paying the same price for my rent for about, I've been there now 7 years, for about 5 years. And then all of a sudden last year, they started raising the rent.
Right.
Not by much, but still. Why? Because, I can get more. I can get more. I can get more,
It's funny. I have a major, national insurance carrier for my car, and I'm a pretty safe driver. And I did one of those apps that monitors your driving, and I did it with like the best faith. I'm like,
let's reduce it.
They tell you could, it could reduce your rate by like 15 and 20% if you're a good driver. So I did it for like 5 months, and it tracked all my driving. I had a gold medal and I had a 94%.
Wow.
And I was on like the podium, they called it. And you know that my insurance went up? My insurance went up. And when I called my carrier, my insurance company, they were like, "Oh yes, you're a very safe driver. Thank you for being a safe driver. But unfortunately, insurance rates in your whole area and like zip code have gone up." So I'm like, "Wait. So you were monitoring my driving for all these months for nothing because my insurance and it went up like $50 a month. It's not like I went up $2 or $3 a month. It went up like $50 a month. So I was like, we're deleting that. I'm deleting this app.
Yeah.
Because it's like
there's no point.
It's like tiene que ser tremendo descarado to tell me that I'm going to download an app where they're going to monitor my driving. My driving is perfect,
and then you're perfect,
and then it goes up.
Right. Yeah. And your driving is perfect.
Right. My driving was like almost perfect. I had a 94%. And they even told you like, "Oh, you are like in the 1% of like only 1% of people have such a pristine driving average." And my insurance still went up.
Okay, then
oye, la gente está descarada.
La gente está descarada. No bounds. No bounds.
Come on, we need to lower like insurance rates here. Esto está de madre.
No, it's bad.
Like the insurance te está comiendo por una pata. It's eating you by a leg, as we say in Spanish. It's insane what insurance rates here in Florida are. So I hope, I don't care who it is. I don't care what party they're from. I just hope that our elected officials get their shit together and really focus on these crazy insurance rates, both for cars and both for property, because it's really putting people in a chokehold that it's either their insurance or rent or eating or buying groceries. Like that's how bad it's gotten here.
Yeah. But then if you sleep in public, you go to jail.
Right. But like I said, don't collect $200. Go straight to jail.
Go.
Man, I haven't played Monopoly in a while.
I think the last time I played Monopoly was with you.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like something like we would have done as a group on a vacation. I used to
love playing the Monopoly at McDonald's.
Oh yeah. Did you see the documentary
about the McDonald's Monopoly?
Yeah. On Max. I remember seeing it, but it's basically like there was a guy who had figured out how to rig the system, and it was like this whole thing that like they recruited people to claim the prizes, and they were even some people on the inside. I think at the ad agency that was doing it, like it was a huge scam, and it went on for years.
You know what documentary I thought was anticlimactic, and I watched it with much like anticipation. The one about the Pepsi fighter jet thing.
Oh, I wanted to see that, but I just never got around to it. No, not worth it.
He didn't get the fighter jet.
Okay, end of story. That's it.
They have a 2-hour documentary dissecting it and all that. At the end, he didn't get the fighter jet. Because I thought that they were going to be like,
legalese.
oh, you know, at the end, I knew he didn't get the fighter jet, but Pepsi paid him X amount of money or whatever.
No.
He didn't get the fighter jet. So it's like, you took me on this circles to like, at the end, tell me something that I already knew. He didn't get the fighter jet.
Yeah, it's a definition of anticlimactic.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I'm glad. I will say this, and we were talking about this before we started recording, with everything that's come out with Nickelodeon and the reign of terror of Nickelodeon and all that.
Yeah, Dan Schneider.
I am so happy that Mark Summers is in good standing.
Oh, thank God.
And people have only said wonderful things about Mark Summers, because Mark Summers, you know, for those listeners who remember who he is, he was the host of Double Dare. And then he did Unwrapped for about 20 years on
That's how I met
Food
him.
Network. On Unwrapped?
Well, because when he was doing Unwrapped, he went one of the years. This was before Bean Pampoyo was even a glimmer in our eyes. Through work, I got tickets for the South Beach Wine and Food Festival, and he was there because it was Food Network, and it was like surreal because it was like, oh, you're Mark Summers, you're the Double Dare guy, and he could not have been lovelier.
Double Dare, man. If I could only go back in time and be on Double Dare.
And you know what's even sadder about that? They were filming it in Orlando.
Yeah.
It was like literally 3 hours away.
Did you ever go to the Nickelodeon studios in Orlando?
I did. I did, but I don't feel like I did anything impressive with it.
Do you remember in MGM Studios in Disney World, which is whatever, it's called Hollywood Studios. Not, I call it MGM Studios. Do you remember taking the backlot tour and seeing the Golden Girls house?
Of course I do.
Yeah. And you would go to Catastrophe Canyon.
Yes.
Where the thing would explode and you'd be like, "Ay, qué calor."
It was so hot.
Well, oil tanker exploded.
I guess.
And they'll be, and cut.
And they put everything back.
Yeah, and they put everything back. They got rid of that.
Yeah, because I don't think it's a working studio anymore, right? Like it used to be at one point.
Yeah, it used to be, but I don't know.
That's where the Mickey Mouse Club was filmed.
Yeah, I like that backlot tour.
What do they do there now?
They expanded the park. They knocked down all those houses.
Is that like where Toy Story is now? Like the Toy Story land?
I don't know. For some reason, I remember going to MGM Studios when I was a kid and being really excited about the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids playground.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Going into Lego.
Yeah.
That was like the best.
Oh, so much fun. They don't even have a playground there anymore.
No. You know what? In MGM Studio, we're taking a Disney detour. In MGM Studios, people were really lamenting now a few years ago when they got rid of the Great Movie Ride.
Oh, I know, but I like the Mickey ride. That's
but I love the Great Movie Ride. Give me a still ride any day. In one of those still car rides.
Yeah, just very relaxing.
With the air conditioning. Ah, yes. Give it to me any day.
Okay, but have you ridden the Mickey one?
No, but you know what I thought was really
so
interesting? Cute. That it's the only ride of Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
Yeah, I didn't know that until after I wrote it.
Yeah. After you read it?
That's why I was like, wrote it.
I need to go to MGM Studios more. I feel, it's not of the 4 Disney parks, it's the one I visited the least is Animal Kingdom.
Right.
But I feel I need to go to MGM more.
Well, there's also been, I think, a lot of changes since you last went. Because you haven't done the Star Wars thing.
I have not done the Star Wars thing.
There's the Toy Story land now.
I've been to the Toy Story land.
Okay.
I love I still get excited about Tower of Terror. And I still get excited in the show Fantasmic when...
with all the powers of my imagination!
Yeah.
Because she can't say hell.
Yes, she can't say hell. It'll scare the children. But that show is so good, Fantasmic.
It is good. Is it still the same show?
I believe so. I haven't heard that they changed it. And I love Tower of Terror.
I haven't ridden it in a while.
I still get excited.
But you know what? I'm so old. I can't ride the Aerosmith one anymore.
Why?
Porque salgo con dolor de cabeza of all
I know,
my head gets like back and forth.
Roller coasters.
I love it, but I can't.
Roller coasters do nothing to me.
No, that one does. Not in general. that
However,
one
I
does.
will not ride the boat. The tidal wave, the boat that goes back and
Oh,
forth
at the fair,
at
at
the
the fair.
carnival, the fair. Oh hell no!
No, porque eso te da ganas de vomitar.
No, what I loved, and I was one of those obnoxious people. I would be flying and floating all over
Aw.
it. Was a graviton.
Did they still have it? I
They
didn't.
don't have
see
the
it.
graviton anymore. They haven't had it in a while. But I love the graviton, and it's so weird because the graviton, if you just keep your head against the back, you're not going to feel anything.
No.
You have the people that was like, "Oh, I'm going to put my head forward." I'm like, "You're defying gravity."
Oh, how Alphaba. That's where they got the idea for the song.
I think of you every time I hear that song.
Well, because you've never heard that song.
So, listeners, when I was up in Michigan, he did a mixtape for me,
Yes.
a mix CD, and
Yeah, we're not that old.
those of you who probably know, in 290,
90, almost 300
I
episodes.
don't do musicals
No.
at all. Like, it's just not something that I do. And he had done this CD for me, and one of the first songs.
It was the first song.
It was the first song. Was that song?
Yeah, Defying Gravity.
Which starts.
That's why it was the first song, because it starts spoken.
It starts
right.
Alphaba. Why did you have to go fly off the handle? And I was like, I'm not gonna listen to this junk. So every time I would put the CD in, I would just skip to the next song, right? And then years later, they do Defying Gravity in Glee. And I remember that's such a nice song. And you're like, yeah, you dumbass. That's the first song on the CD that you always skipped. And I was like, it is? So I went back to the CD and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it is. Right, but the one that you gave me, it starts, I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy
Yes,
now.
because-
no.
Because that's how it starts in the show.
That's too Broadway for me. I'm like, no. You know, I'm not gonna listen to this. Come me a daddy. You know,
I give you Kristen Chenoweth, and you don't even appreciate it.
It's like I always tell you.
It's like 4 foot tall of loveliness.
I don't know anything about Broadway and musicals, but somehow I know who Bernadette Peters is. I'm not sure where I know her from. I know her from yogurt commercials. That's
I
what I know
feel
her
it
from.
has to be yogurt and like the Muppet Show. Those are the only two things that make sense to me that you would know her
That's
from.
like, who's Frasier's wife?
BB Newworth.
Right. I know her as Frasier's wife. I remember when you told me that she was like a Broadway
Yeah.
star. I'm like, Frasier's wife?
Yes,
On Cheers?
She was she was the Catherine Zeta-Jones role in Chicago on Broadway.
That's that musical. I'm sorry. I know I'm offending a lot of you. What's that song that I hate from this?
Cell Block Tango.
Go, how does that go?
The one he had it coming.
Oh
Yeah,
my
Cell Block Tango.
God. Oh, it's like my ears are bleeding.
But then you like all that jazz.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not. It's okay. It's La Basso. But, you know, and that other one, Little Shop of Horrors.
Okay, you need to stop right now, sir.
I know I'm offending certain
You
people.
need to stop right now,
Right?
Because Little Shop is fantastic.
No, but it's like, Alpha, why did you go and fly off the handle? I remember when I would put on the CD and that would come out. I'm like, what the hell is this? Next.
See, and look,
Skip.
you would have enjoyed it all these years. And you didn't even know it. That's the role that Ariana Grande is playing in the movie.
I like Grease, but Grease doesn't count.
No. Grease is like when people say that Toxic is their favorite Britney.
I mean, who doesn't like Grease?
That's what I say about
Who
Toxic.
doesn't like Grease?
I mean, I'm assuming communists, offhand.
I mean, because Grease is good. Like that, those songs are good.
Those songs are fantastic.
Do you remember when I tried to do the Grease lightning scene in high school and I fell on my ass?
I do not.
Yeah, I tried to jump on a seat and go Grease lightning, and then I fell on my ass. This is epic. It was in the yearbook room.
Oh, well, that's why I was in a yearbook.
You were in newspaper, which was the yearbook room, and you were always in the yearbook room.
But was it? I had other classes.
I didn't.
I know. That's why you probably think I was there, because you were there the first 4 hours of the day.
Yeah, listeners, I tried to recreate the Grease lightning scene, and I tried to think I was on a car on a Trans Am, but I wasn't. I was on a wooden chair in school, and I fell on my ass.
Yeah.
What is
But that builds character.
What's your favorite song of Grease?
My favorite.
I like the Rizzo song.
That actually is probably the best song in Grease, like all
And
things
I
considered.
loved Vanessa Hudgens when she did it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great.
I mean, especially because she had just lost her father.
That Grease thing they did some years back,
Yeah.
live, was it
Yeah,
Grease
Grease
Live?
Live, yeah.
I thought it was really good.
It was very fun. It was very good, and it was very ambitious. because it was a live musical on TV where they were like being carried from set to set.
Right.
In like little golf carts and doing costume changes like on the way.
Right.
So it wasn't like just one set. It was multiple sound stages.
Yeah, I remember the intro with Jessie J doing Grease is the Word. It was great. Like it was really,
I think
really
Boyz II Men was
Boyz II Men was in it.
Yeah.
And you know, again, that's not my shtick. And I was like, this is really enjoyable.
Yeah. I don't know what my favorite song from Grease is. I mean, I Worst Things I Could Do, the Rizzo song is up there. The thing is that Hopelessly Devoted is a great song, but that's not part of the Broadway production.
Oh no, I just know Grease the movie.
Yeah.
You get Broadway, get no Broadway. I just know
that's what I'm saying. Like that's not part. That was included in the movie because of Olivia Newton-John.
That sounds like a very Olivia Newton-John song.
Yeah. And actually, in the Broadway production, she's not Australian.
What is she?
She's just like, I think she's Jewish. Actually,
did they just make her Australian because of
Olivia Newton-John? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, she could have also just had an American accent.
I don't know that Olivia Newton-John was able to do one. Like, do you ever remember her being American in anything she ever did?
I don't think she needed to be.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like you hire Olivia Newton-John, you're getting Australian. I mean, that's the package deal. It's like you don't hire John Travolta to do Shakespeare.
You don't?
Wherefore art thou, Romeo? Like, come on. Also, I don't know why I had him do Juliet.
You know what's really weird about John Travolta? Really, really weird.
I don't even know what could be weird. Scientology? I don't know.
Okay, that is weird. Despite him having such a famous movie career,
Right.
I think of Vinnie Barbarino.
As you should.
Right, but when you think of Welcome Back, Kotter in the universe of John Travolta,
That was so long ago.
not only that it was long ago, but I mean, he was a huge movie star, right?
He made the transition. Yeah.
Right, but,
yeah.
and his movies were enormous.
True.
Right? Because it's not even like a Jennifer Aniston, right? That was in Friends, which is iconic.
Right.
And even though Jennifer Aniston has had very famous movies,
She's not.
I wouldn't say that none of the movies has and she's been in huge movies,
Right.
But none of them have eclipsed Rachel in Friends.
Yeah, that's
Right.
fair. Yeah.
Whereas Welcome Back, Kotter was a very famous show, but it wasn't Friends
Right.
either.
And you can't say it was bigger than Saturday Night Fever.
Right. But I still think of Vinnie Barbarino. I don't know why.
It's because we spent a lot of time watching TV as children.
My brother used to watch Welcome Back, Kotter Welcome Back, Kotter is before our time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Syndication.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, my brother used to watch it a lot, and I don't know. I guess everybody did. My parents, when I was a kid, had to sing. Oh, it's John Travolta. John Travolta. Porque qué lindo baila John Travolta.
He is such a good dancer. I'm telling you, they should do an all-star edition of Dancing with the Stars. And
he's one of these
he
people that he's
there.
a good dancer, but you don't think of. He doesn't look like somebody who would be a good dancer.
Not now.
Right, but that's something that you just have.
Right. No, but I'm saying like
John Travolta doesn't scream rhythm. Right?
who screams rhythm?
Not John Travolta.
All right.
And neither does Enrique Iglesias.
Oh, but he has the rhythm divine.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas John Travolta just has the rhythm Xenu.
Right. Or I thought going to say Xanadu.
No, that's Olivia. That's
Right.
Olivia with Gene Kelly.
Listen, I remember watching the video of Michael Jackson, Liberian Girl, and not getting the John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John moment. They're in that video.
I know, but you had seen Grease.
Yeah, but I didn't really know that was her.
Oh, was this one of those moments you have where you don't recognize people outside of the things that they're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at that, listeners.
Yeah.
You know how in soap operas, listeners, like somebody will have amnesia and the only difference is that they have glasses on?
Right.
I would believe it.
He'd be like, I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
Like, I think we said this like last week.
Yeah.
Superman, Clark Kent. Yeah, we totally
I
work
don't
on
know
you.
who that is.
Yeah.
Like, who's that? They have bags now. I don't know who that is.
When Shakira went blonde, he was like, "Who's the singer?
Who is that?"
Who's the
Like,
singer?
I'm really, you can't be good at everything.
It's true. We all have to have our limits.
I'm really, really bad at everything. Okay, this is totally totally off subject, but I'm not ashamed to say.
Share with our listeners.
Earlier this week, I was jamming in my car because it came on my random on my playlist to "Nothing My Love Can Fix" by Joey Lawrence.
I love that song. I don't care. I like Night by Night too.
I was in a good mood.
It's a good mood song.
But you know what was really funny? Do you remember when I told you that I was really in a binge listening to this week too?
Oh yeah, like
I
the
was
Lilith
Tori
Fair?
Amos. I was
Yeah.
like listening to Tori Amos all this week, and somehow in my shuffle, in my random thing, in my playlist,
algorithm.
Joey Lawrence comes out. So I guess I was so into the depression of Tori Amos that when Joey Lawrence comes on my playlist,
So your playlist was concerned. Is basically
I think it was.
They were like, he needs help.
I
Let's
was
give him a
listening
little
to
Joey
Silent
Lawrence.
all these years. Wow. And then
Joey Lawrence
comes out. Oh, there's nothing my love can fix.
I only have one thing to say about that. Whoa.
Damn, can we get Joey Lawrence on the show?
You know what? Bring all the Lawrence brothers. Screw it. I think they have a podcast now.
They do.
Yeah. It's a 3-for-1.
Do they have a group rate or an individual rate?
Oh, that's a good question. Like, how many Lawrences? Like, what's the volume discount on
Yeah.
Lawrences?
And I think it's also generational because although Matthew Lawrence was in Boy Meets World, which I love,
Yeah.
Joey Lawrence is a little bit more of our time.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah,
me, he's
you know,
a bigger.
give me a break.
He's
Yeah.
a bigger Lawrence, but I know that to others, Matthew's a bigger Lawrence.
Right.
And then there's Andy.
And then
right?
there's Andy.
And then there's
Andy. It's the Lawrence version of Maude.
Hey everyone, it's DJ. Y oye, you know we've been digging on Gawi Lemon Lime Soda for a bit now. The tart, sweet, bubbly taste of Gawi Lemon Lime is perfect for thirst quenching, and it's been a hit at all of our Ping Pong Boyo pop-ups. People love it. Not to mention, it's been a crisp, refreshing soda since 1948 without an aftertaste like some other sodas. Just saying. Así que get your Gawi Lemon Lime at your store or even online. And if your store doesn't carry it, pues pídelo and start enjoying the authentically Cuban taste of Gawi Lemon Lime today. Gawi Lemon Lime, que rico es. Joey Lawrence. Anyway, it's just
On
me.
that note, I think it's definitely soda time.
Limón con lima, lima, limón. Lo trae Gawi, que vacilón. En la respuesta para este calor. Tómate un Gawi, lima, limón. Gawi!
You ready?
I could be.
You taking me
To the point of no return. Oh, that video of them recently made me a little sad.
of Exposé.
Yeah.
Right, but that video, it's not even that they look bad. So there's this video that sort of made it, I wouldn't say it went viral,
Right.
but it sort of was being
online.
shared of Exposé at some event,
Freestyle concert. Yeah.
freestyle concert recently. And you sent it to me, you're like, they look so old. Well, first of all,
They're up
some
there.
of them are in their 60s.
Yeah.
I don't think they even look old. I don't think they look bad. It's just that you could tell they put this performance together like the day before.
Right.
And they were wearing, some of them were wearing clothes by like Ann Taylor, and the other one you could tell went to like the thrift store, and the other one you could tell like was like, no, I'm gonna wear sparkly things and
Right,
all that.
right.
They were not matching. They
They just look their age, and for some reason, to me, it just caught me off guard.
It's not even that they looked their age. They just didn't look like they were performing freestyle music. Like I told you, one of them and the blonde one, I'm like, she looks like she's going to go into a boardroom. She was wearing like a pantsuit. Like, and here she is singing Miami freestyle music. Like, they didn't think about how they were looking as a trio. But
Right.
aside from that,
Cohesion.
we love Exposé.
Oh, listen, I will expose all day long.
Exposé all day, every day.
Yes.
We should have them on the show.
I have been trying.
You have?
I have been trying. I can't find like a contact for them.
I mean, I would totally fanboy over Exposé.
Oh, I've seen you fanboy over Exposé.
I love Exposé.
Like from afar, you've fanboyed.
I mean, I have all of Exposé's albums. Like,
Not the greatest hits, kids. The
all of
albums.
them. Exposure. What's their second album? What's their second album?
See,
Their second album has "Tell Me Why." It echoes every night. What you don't know is their second album. Their third album is self-titled. It's called Exposé, and then their greatest hits, and that's it.
That's it.
Then remixes and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is bring on Exposé. You know what, Exposé? If you're listening to this, first of all, thank you. Come on, swing by the show.
Exposed to love. Never felt like this. No.
Well, that's what I'm gonna listen to tonight on the way home.
Remember in the 90s that song, that ballad they had?
I'll never get over you getting over
I'll
me.
never get over.
What a long title.
I remember where I was when I realized what that song meant. I was in line at Wendy's. I remember exactly where I was. I was in a line at actually it was a Wendy's on Sunset Drive. I was
Placing one of your complicated orders?
No, because it was on. I was inside the Wendy's.
Oh, okay.
And they was like, "Oh, she'll never get over him getting over her." I don't know. I just thought it was those like rhyming lyrics,
like lyric soup.
Yeah, that they would just put to make something. And I'm like, oh, that's what. And you know that I'm all about lyrics,
Yeah.
but I had never really stopped to pay attention to those lyrics. I'm like, oh, that's what that song means. Okay, anyway.
So are you giving your last Kawi expose?
I think I should.
I mean, I'm
You
not
know
gonna,
what? You know what?
You know what?
I was going to give it to somebody else. My last Kawi this week goes to Expose.
I'm going to give mine too to Expose. You know what? Screw it.
because
Double
you know
Kawi.
what? Then we could just continue talking about Expose.
As we should.
Yeah.
I mean,
Listen.
you know what I kind of feel bad for?
Who?
The replacement
Kelly
girl.
Moneymaker?
Yeah. Wait, her last name was Moneymaker?
It sure was.
That sounds like somebody who would be in the Med and Booty Girls, not Expose.
No. But you know what? They performed with her.
Oh, they have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That's kind of like if Destiny's Child ever got back together. You need to bring LaToya and Latavia.
That's so many people on stage.
Right. Not Farrah, but LaToya and Latavia. Farrah was in there only for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think I was in Destiny's Child longer.
LaToya and Latavia were founding members of Destiny's
Okay,
Child.
fair enough.
Anyway, but yeah, no. Oh, let's talk about Expose.
Why not? We're giving them Cowies. So, you know what?
Joya, Jeanette, and Anne. Here's a
Kawi for you.
What I love about Expose, I think it's great.
Listeners, if you don't think this is going to be the clip on Instagram, you've never met us.
And, you know, if you made it this far in the episode, then you love Expose
Yes.
too. Because if you don't like Expose, you don't know who they are, you
Go to
turned off
Spotify,
our show a long time ago. But what I actually do like about Expose is that, you know, freestyle was such a huge music movement here in Miami and in New York, but it was just a Miami, New York thing predominantly. It was such a huge movement for us here in Miami because a lot of these artists came from here. And
It was very Latino influence.
it was. And I think that Expose of all these freestyle artists was the biggest one because I think that
Mainstream, absolutely.
They were certainly mainstream. They were top 40. Seasons Change went to #1 on Billboard.
Mm-hmm.
So I think of Expose as like the biggest of those groups. And let's just face it, they were the best because they actually could sing.
Yeah, they weren't manufactured per se.
No, they kind of were put together.
Well, like I said, per se.
But they actually could really sing and they harmonize really well. So their first album, I like every single song on that album.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you.
Do you know the song December?
No, see, I don't know the non-singles for Expose.
Oh,
that's the thing. That's where you and I differ. You're a much hardcore Expose fan.
Well, they only had 3 albums, so it's like 33 songs.
That's 3 more than the Spice Girls.
Although in their greatest hits, they have, I think it's a Diane Warren song. Is it Diane Warren? No, it's not.
They have a
Diane
cover.
Warren. Why does the world keep on shining?
That's not
Don't they know
End of the world.
It's the end of the
And then
world.
My Baby Never Looked Good in Blue.
No, but that's from their second album.
Oh, that is? Okay.
And then they also have a remix in their greatest hits of I specialize in love. I'll make you feel like new. I'll specialize in love.
Let me work on you.
So some years ago, this was like in 2007 or 2008. They here in Miami, we had a freestyle explosion concert, and
It would have been great if you just stopped it there. We had a freestyle explosion.
no, hoy en día solo se puede hacer. And this and it was at the American Airlines Arena, so it was like a big venue, and it was again 2007, 2008, and so it had been enough time already, far removed from that time, that era, that it was now nostalgic. And there were a lot of people that came on stage, but like the headliners were Exposé
and Lisa. I think were the headliners.
Right,
Yeah.
but Exposé was the last one, and it was the first time that they were going to sing as a trio because Yoa had left the band because her throat issues or whatever. And I remember I was like excited that
You could not stop doing that nervous, happy giggle that you do,
like, if I was seeing freaking Mariah Carey
like
on
in
stage
front of him, like 10 feet away.
I was like, yes, come go with me, like.
I will come go with
And we
you.
were like the youngest people on that.
That is what
show.
I remember from that show the most. Like, I think comparatively speaking, we were toddlers there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, because all those songs, they were before our time too. Like they came out when we were kids, but they were so good that
We grew up with them.
they had generational appeal.
It's true.
So Exposé,
yes, you get our last cow.
you get our last Cowie, and again, Joya, Jeanette, and Anne, you are welcome to come on our show whenever you'd like, because we are huge Exposé fans. What's your
Yes.
favorite Exposé song?
I do like Seasons Change because
a great song.
I feel that Seasons Change is the song, and it's going to sound like kind of pretentious, but it's the song that kind of, I think, showed them like they were not just a freestyle band.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was like their big mainstream, like the crossover, right? It showed that they could do something other than just dance music. And so I like it for that reason.
It's a really good reason. I remember I used to love the video. Do you remember the video to Seasons Change?
Is that the one where they're on the beach?
They're in the beach house,
Okay.
and they're covering the furniture with white sheets. And I was thinking, like, oh, do people really do that?
No. I mean, I feel like they used to do that. Like the Kennedys probably did that on Martha's Vineyard.
I feel that was such a Scooby Doo thing that they would go inside a house that everything was covered in sheets. Am I wrong or am I wrong?
Oh, no, that's why I'm laughing. You're right.
And then, they'll find out that the villain was the professor.
Yeah.
Professor Schultz! Oh, no! I'm going to turn you into stone! Ah!
What?
And they always had, like, a bag around his head.
Well, that was like, a mask of some sort. Yes, I would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for you pesky kids.
Is that where I learned the word pesky from?
I can't imagine where else you would have learned it from.
You know when I always use that word, right?
I feel like I hear you say it, but I can't remember right now.
When I'm talking about the Mundo de Cristal people,
Oh,
Natalia's
yeah,
fan base,
yeah.
those pesky kids.
I feel like they haven't been as active lately.
Well, they grew up. They're in their 30s and 40s now.
So's the Bayhive.
Well, that's true.
You know?
That runs deep.
Yeah. I mean,
Come go with me. Oh, make you. I specialize in exposed to love. Okay. Anyway, well, on that note, everybody, now that we've taken a trip down memory lane,
Yes.
We hope you all listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your Cowie. Thank you so much for joining us. Exposé. If you're listening, please come on the show. And thank you so much for listening to us. Have a great weekend, everybody, and see you next week.
yes, come go with us. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.